Hey guys, welcome in. It's time to start Bollocks this evening in the Beaux-Arts Forge Studios. We're excited to be here. It's Monday. It's the fireworks weekend. Just went past us, and we got a big show ready to go. Boom.
Really big show. Really big show.
Really big. So I got my McLaren shirt on. They didn't race this week, but I'm ready.
Wait, what?
They didn't race this week, did they?
They raced yesterday.
Did they?
Yes.
I didn't find it on my betting.
Lando won.
Oh, okay. McLaren won.
Yeah.
So, okay. Where were they at?
Hold on.
See, this is what happens when you're not at the house. You're my TV guy.
It was the British Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Lando and Oscar won too. And Nico Hulkenberg got his first podium.
Hulkenberg. Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
So is Alpine? Who is he with?
Sauber. The green team.
The green team. The one no one knows.
Yes.
That's why.
Well,
that's because they're cutting back on green technology because, it's just not good for America, apparently.
Yeah. It's definitely not good for Formula One.
No. I would think having an electric car may not work so well.
No.
The weight of the batteries.
I can tell you those things,
they're a hybrid, Lenny.
In the short term, those electric cars get
they
it.
Move.
Because they did an electric car series at the Rolex, didn't they? Do they still do that portion of it?
No, there wasn't a electric car series at the Rolex. No,
but they did a race prior to it, I thought.
No, they didn't.
The one year I went down there was definitely an electric car race.
Was it on a track, and were they going zzz?
No, they weren't holding the button and flying it off like I always did.
Which is always the goal.
Which I always did. See if you could hit Mom's best China.
But those electric cars, man, they whip fast off the line.
Rolex.
All right, you got the power of Google while I do this amazing read, and we're talking about the incredible Beaux-Arts Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Beaux-Arts is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Beaux-Arts Ford Lincoln has been a recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Beaux-Arts Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online at beaux-artsford.com.
For over 20 years, A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing has been St. Augustine's trusted name in roofing. From cedar shake and tile to flat roofs and designer shingles, they've got you covered, literally. Specializing in painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties up to 25 years. And cedar shake shingle warranties up to 50 years. A to Z puts customer satisfaction first, free estimates, top-tier materials, and service you can count on. Visit A2Z Roofing and Waterproofing.com. A to Z Roofing, protecting homes from the top down.
All right, Mr. Electric. All right, Mr. Electric. Need a trusted electrician in St. Augustine? Call Mr. Electric of St. Augustine, a local veteran-owned business providing expert residential and commercial electrical services across St. Johns, Flagler, and Putnam counties. From panel upgrades to lighting installs to safety inspections and EV chargers, their licensed pros do it all. With upfront pricing and satisfaction guaranteed, backed by the neighborly done right promise, flexible scheduling, no surprises, just dependability, hometown service. Give them a call at 904-289-1217. That's 904-289-1217. Mr. Electric of St. Augustine, your local power experts.
Hey, Choi, these neighborhood diners are more than just a place to eat. They're where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own or make new friends. The coffee is always hot, the smiles are genuine, and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. And it is tasty. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner or Anastasia Diner and tell them Andy sent you.
All right. We have other great sponsors we got to give shout-outs to. We got Brightway Insurance, St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum, Anastasia Construction Group, the St. Solar Stick, Bear, Kresge and Associates, just talked to him today. Powell Heating and Air, Meehan's, A.D. Davis Construction, Land Title America, and of course our man
Kaiser's Deli, 4 White Street. Delicious.
Yes. Just amazing food over there. All right. Lenny, how was your weekend, man?
My weekend was outstanding.
Did you walk to the beach where the
No,
fireworks?
we went to the river. We went to the bayfront.
Oh, you okay? Oh, you walked.
Yeah,
you were on the bridge.
Yeah, well, no, we were on a rooftop where they were delightfully exploding right in front of us. It was like front row seating. It was fabulous.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah, we went to a roof in Davis Shores, and it was like, first of all, I couldn't figure out the orientation because I'm looking at the Treasury, and I'm going, okay, so the Treasury, so then the fireworks should be a little bit to the right of that, the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And they were way all the way. It was like if the Treasury was noon or 12 o'clock.
You must have been really close then.
Oh, yeah.
For it to be, because, I mean, from far away, it'll be closer, and then if you'd have to be right on the river for it to be.
We were in Davis Shores, and I couldn't quite figure it out because I'm looking at the Treasury, so I know where the bridge is. I'm knowing where the water is. And then, it was like they were shooting them off from much closer to the inlet than where I had seen them the last couple of years, which was sort of off of the fort.
No, they were pretty much in the same spot.
Really?
Sure. Yeah.
I couldn't quite figure this out. I couldn't work it out. It doesn't matter because they were literally right in front of us. It was fabulous.
It was almost
show.
Perpendicular to the fort.
Fabulous show.
Which is where they normally are. Because they start out at the inlet, and you kind of see them where I was at on the rooftop of the Treasury. You can see them kind of coming in, and like, here they come. And then once they set up, they're ready to go, and they get going.
And they were punctual.
Yeah.
They were like 20 minutes on the button.
Yeah.
But it was great. Seemed a lot longer.
I felt like it was longer last year.
Okay.
I felt like the shows were longer last year.
I had read that this one was contracted for 20 minutes, and I thought this one, because I can't add. I'm going, oh, look at that, they're going overtime. No, it was 20 minutes. It was from 9:30 to 9:50. But it was funny because where we were watching, there was one really loud boom, and a car alarm started going off. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens. So hold on, I got to tell my partners I'm on air, which they should know that.
Come on, answer the phone.
Yeah, not happening. All right. So we got a lot to talk about. I mean, it was a good weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We got rain coming this upcoming weekend again. So it's like July or something.
Well, the fact that there was supposed to be rain on and off during the fireworks, there wasn't, and that made it perfect for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's a comfortable evening, great show.
It made it cool. It brought it down enough where it wasn't awful, and there was a nice breeze where I was at, so it kind of kept the bugs away. Because I mean, the way, when there's no breeze and it's this hot, it's sticky and buggy.
Yes.
As a Floridian guy, when I say it's sticky and buggy, it's really sticky and buggy. So, because are mosquitoes attracted to you?
Well, look at me. What do you think? Of course they are.
See, mosquitoes, it has to do with the carbon dioxide you put out.
I'm a heavy breather, I guess.
You're a mouth breather. It's okay. That's very common with ivy leggers.
Yeah, it just says the entire current administration and the last administration and the last administration. You're looking for Ivy Leaguers, just go to the White House. Doesn't matter whether it's a Republican or Democratic administration.
How far back do we have to go to be do we got to go back to Carter? No, Eureka. We go back to Reagan.
Dutch? Yeah.
Yeah. Reagan, I think, is our last non-Ivy Leaguer. Yeah. So with no affiliation with Ivy League. So but we got lots of topics to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to start, Blake, and you get to choose the topics.
You lucky man, you.
We got the Texas floods, which has to be on the list.
Oof, how frightening!
It has to be on the list. And what is your first topic you got over there?
The Dalai Lama.
Oh, much calmer.
Yes.
Calmer.
Oh.
And then we got the American Party.
Yeah.
So
I hope we're getting invited.
Yeah,
I like a party.
Yeah, no, I hope so.
Yep.
We could be our first American Party show.
Ooh,
so
all right.
Elon, just come on over. Bring your checkbook.
We got a seat for you. Yeah, right. We got a seat for you. Sure.
Bring your checkbook.
Yeah.
Get me out of debt. So Blake, which way you want to go? The Texas floods, the Dalai Lama, or American Party?
Well, we should probably address the floods.
Yeah, I think we should address the floods first. But however, though, but I do want to bring up a fact check though for you though with the Ivy League presidents thing.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden actually didn't go to an Ivy League school. So Joe Biden
him.
would be.
Yeah, where did he go? Did he go to Delaware?
Did he go to Delaware?
So let's see. I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah. So I believe he did get a degree in the University of so he got undergraduate studies at University of Delaware, then graduated from the Syracuse University College of Law.
Okay. So he's a blue hen, and then he's blue and orange is basically what it is. So New York Mets colors. Okay. I knew I liked the guy for some reason, just for the colors.
That's the only reason.
Well, that'll work.
Yeah, but my first topic is the Texas floods, though.
Texas floods.
Yeah.
All right, this is horrible.
Yes.
This is absolutely horrible. And
the death toll keeps rising.
The last number I saw was 91.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw.
I was up to 87 was where I last.
The last number I saw, Blake. I don't know if you saw a number any different than that.
And some of them were small children.
Yeah,
young girls.
There was a girls' Christian summer camp that was hit and probably hit the hardest, and
And it had been there for 100 years.
It had been there for forever.
Yeah.
And the officials were saying by the time they realized what was happening, if they had called for an evacuation, they were afraid more people would be stuck out on the street.
Correct.
And it would have been more deaths. Yeah. And they just, basically sent out alert, be as safe as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine being the person that made that call and has to live with that the rest of their lives.
Well,
I've never had that situation come up, but I cannot imagine, knowing me personally, how I would take that.
Yeah.
So
you just carry it with you, and you gotta soldier on. But it as you said, if they had tried to give it away, the fact that it happened in the middle of the night when everyone was asleep was part of the biggest problem, and the fact that it rose as quickly as possible. I mean, this thing was just ferocious and fast. It was like 20 feet of water in a blink of an eye almost. But we were talking about it just before the show started.
It was 26 feet.
Yeah, and it was quick.
So, and Blake, just to put that in perspective, our house, where our floor is, sits at 8.5 feet. That would have been over the peak of our house.
Yeah, most construction is about 10 feet of floor. So it's 2.5 stories.
It wasn't just like rising water.
Right.
This was violently moving water. So
which at that depth is disastrous. But moving water, just if you ever get stuck in something like that, you got to be very careful, because 2 or 3 feet of water, a foot and a half of water moving like that'll wipe you out and send you down.
Actually, about 12 inches will knock you off your feet. I mean, it's the
speed of the water for sure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we were talking beforehand that is one of the most flood-prone plains in Texas. Mm-hmm. And this camp's been here for 100 years.
They call it like Flood Alley or something.
So nobody thought to move the camp?
Yeah. Yeah, Camp Mystic is the name of the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And the heart goes out to those young ladies that are having to live through that trauma, the ones that were lost, and the parents. That are still, there's still, like, last I heard, there was like 8 or 10 still missing. So it's
right. And it wasn't only the children.
Yeah,
I mean, as horrific as that is, there was and just other people not affiliated with the camp in general.
Yeah.
So it was just horrible.
Amazing job by the first responders of some of the things I saw with the helicopter rescues and
out there on horseback.
Yeah.
So right now the official count is at 95 confirmed deaths so far. 27 confirmed from Camp Mystic, and 11 are still missing at this time.
11 are still missing.
Yes.
And thank you for that Texas flag, Blake. Let's leave that there the whole show.
Okay.
So, we live in an area where we get floods.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we don't have this kind of speed with
flash flooding.
It's more of a, it's still
rising water.
Tragic what happens to us and stuff. But I mean, this is one. I mean, every and we say it a lot. Make sure you say you love. I love you to your family and those things. You just don't know. You just don't know when this is going to happen. So, they talked about, it's going to be like 5 or 6 inches of water, but it didn't say this could happen. So.
And they're getting more rain. I think they were getting more rain today.
And it's in like 4 different areas.
There's 2 rivers
around that Austin, that little Austin basin, I guess is what it's called. So, you know, a lot of love out to Texas, and you know, I think Florida is one state that can definitely sympathize. We don't know exactly what you're going through, but we can definitely share the sympathy of similar things that have happened.
And hopefully we never have to see anything like that here, or please anyplace else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it probably will in the course of history, but man, maybe not for a really long time, please.
Well, and there's, I mean, I saw a heartbreaking story of a man and woman that got separated. You know, married couple that got separated, and only one of them made it. It was just, you know, he was really beating himself up because he couldn't hold on to her.
Right.
So
yeah, the only thing in contemporary time is that tsunami in 2011 that was over in Thailand. Or it was.
Gosh, that was frightening.
It was similar in effect.
Have you watched that documentary?
I don't think so.
It's a tough one to watch, but it is a great one to watch because there are, you know, some amazing heroic stories that came out of it. And there's going to be some amazing heroic stories that are happening right now. Hopefully we get a couple of those miracles of those 11 that are missing.
One child was swept 15 miles down the river, swept down 15 miles.
Yeah.
And I would believe from the way it was reported, survived, fortunately.
That's
I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah, 15 miles, swept away 15 miles.
Yeah. So hopefully we get some of those stories that
on a lighter note.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna move on from there. But just know we have a lot of great love for Texas right now, and you're in all of our thoughts.
And sympathy for the parents, and empathy for everybody involved.
Yeah, and the reason I say those kids that witnessed it, they lost friends right in front of them. You know, and you know, there's a scene in the movie, the first Twister, like where it just picks and chooses who it's grabbing, and it's indiscriminate. You know, you don't. You know, it doesn't have a mind. No, but sometimes you would think that it does. Yeah, it acts like a monster, but it doesn't have a mind. Right. So, all right. So we got Dalai Lama. Sure. I got American Party. And vehicle reliability. Vehicle reliability. All right. And Blake, what do we have in the titles, just so we make sure we hit those?
Dalai Lama was one of the titles, so we can go with Dalai Lama.
Okay. All right. The Dalai Lama
celebrated his birthday the other day. Turned 90 years old.
Boy, happy birthday.
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
He's, you know, a couple years back, he predicted he was going to live to 110. Well, now he said he's going to live another 40 years to 130, which is 20 years longer than his previous prediction. Yeah. And he's not going anywhere. Richard Gere says he's in great shape because Richard Gere was there to celebrate with him. Oh, awesome. He's a well-known Buddhist. But, you know, he fled China in 1959. And I pronounce this poorly, but he's been living in Dharamshala. All
right, what country?
It's in India.
Okay. All right.
Dharamshala.
Yeah, the more you say it, the worse it gets.
I'm just trying to get all the letters in there.
You should have just said it once and looked in and just moved on.
Trying to get all them letters in there. There's an M, there's an extra A.
I'm about to say a person's name, but I have no idea how to say it. But I'm going to try and say it with as much confidence as I can.
There you go. Just sound like you know what you're talking about. That's how we got this far so far. But here's the deal. He
90
says,
years old.
90 years old, says he's in great physical condition. He's going to live another 40 years to 130, 20 years longer than his previous prediction. And he's confirmed plans because there was some confusion on whether or not he was going to be the last Dalai Lama.
Yeah, no. I heard the other one's already been born.
Hopefully not, because then that means this guy's dead.
No, he could have already been born, but he's not exactly listed as the Dalai Lama.
No, they got to find him. Yeah. And it's you know.
But he doesn't come out of the womb as the Dalai Lama.
No.
They assign him as the Dalai Lama. It can't be as an adult or as a child.
But hang on. The Dalai Lama's got to pass away because it's a reincarnation. So you can't be reincarnated from somebody who's still alive, I don't believe.
I don't know.
Reincarnation, you should come back for another life.
I heard the next Dalai Lama. And Blake, see.
That might be the Chinese giving disinformation. Seriously, because the Chinese are claiming they're going to name the next Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama's going, not happening. The Dalai Lama will be born, and has he said, because it's not. So I'm going to call you on this.
How old was the Dalai Lama listed? How old was he when he was named the Dalai Lama? You have Dalai Lama history.
I think he was 2 or 3. He was young.
Okay.
But there's this whole cadre
There's a
of
gap
monks.
between it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have a year. So he was officially declared as the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama in 1937.
In 1937. So he's been the Dalai Lama since, okay, so he's
somebody's gotta do
exactly
math.
90, so he's
Right.
2 years old.
So he was
That's what I'm saying, right.
So he's 2 years old.
So
So he
they-
has to be reincarnated, but
Right.
for some reason I read it, like it's probably been 10 years ago, that the next Dalai Lama was born in like Seattle. But you're saying they have to wait until this one's dead to be reincarnated to have another Dalai Lama. So
Correct.
we have a gap. We had a gap
Right.
of 2 years of
Right.
no lamas.
And that's usually how it works, because what the process is you've got these monks that go around, and if they think that this person may be the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama, because it's, he's reincarnated after the death of the Dalai Lama, said our current Dalai Lama said his reincarnation will take place in the free world, which is just a shot at China. He said he's going to be born in the free world. He's not going to be born in China.
Wow,
They-
he does have total enlightenment.
Oh yeah, and brass balls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He knows where he's going to be reincarnated.
Well, he knows where he's not going to be reincarnated.
Oh, yeah.
Not in China. There will be in the free world.
Gotcha.
So not China. But the Chinese are going, well, not so fast. China wants government approval of the next Dalai Lama. They have to be, you need to file Chinese laws. And this is the one that I'm laughing at. Religious rituals and historic connotations. Well, what religious rituals are there in China? China is an irreligious country, and I don't mean that badly. They just don't have religion.
He left in 59.
Correct.
If I heard your story correct.
Yes.
So he left at the age of 24.
Well, he left Tibet. He wasn't in China. He was in Tibet.
He's in Tibet.
He's in Tibet, which is now under the thumb of China.
Yeah.
Which is why he's in Dar es Salaam.
But that's the reason he left Tibet was
Correct.
because of China
Taking over Tibet.
pushing him.
Right.
He was basically pushed out.
Correct.
All right.
Otherwise, he would have been in house arrest, and he wasn't going for it.
So China is saying they know more about being the Dalai Lama than the guy who's been the Dalai Lama for 88 years.
Correct.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sounds like government.
Sounds like China.
Well, it sounds like any
right,
government.
right,
Sounds like
right.
any government. We know more.
But it's an
I'm
interesting...
here from the government. I'm here to help. Scariest words you'll ever hear.
But how they do it is they bring possessions from the previously deceased Dalai Lama, and when they find this child, they lay him out. And, the kid picks up the correct one. He's on his path to becoming the Dalai Lama. If he doesn't, it's like a rattle or a drum or something that belonged to the previous Dalai Lama.
Why do I have the Eddie Murphy movie in my head, The Golden Child?
Similar.
I want the knife. You remember he's spinning the thing? Blake, you ever see Golden Child?
Yep.
I'm going to take that as a no.
No.
All right. Blake, you're still conscious?
And there's been Dalai Lamas for 600 years. I got you, Blake. Don't worry. 600 years of Dalai Lamadom.
Dalai Lama.
Lamadom, right.
What is the longest period that we've been Dalai Lama-ist?
Dalai Lama-less?
Yeah.
I do not know.
So,
I do not know. I'm just a big fan of this guy.
yeah, so he's 90. He's
Yep.
planning on living to be 130.
Correct.
All right.
Impressive. He could.
All right.
Hey,
So maybe
it's that rarefied
maybe
air.
the Dalai Lama's not even born on this earth.
Go Elon, go
Yeah,
up on Mars.
maybe could
Yeah,
happen.
but then they got to send. But then they got to send the group of monks up there with all the toys for him
They
to
got to
pick
go
from.
find the right guy.
All right.
Or girl.
Okay.
So, we ever had a female Dalai Lama?
I don't know that.
You don't know if
would
that's a
work.
thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
All right.
All
right. So we got American Party. What was the other one you had?
Vehicle reliability.
Vehicle reliability, and I got snipers. Blake, we're having a show here.
I understand.
This is the part where you participate.
I was trying to do research. I'm trying to find all the years that the Dalai Lama has not been around yet. So I'm trying to do that for you. But in the meantime, I guess we'll talk about the American Party.
The American Party.
Okay.
All right. Elon has officially announced
Yep.
the third party. Actually, there's several other parties, but
Right. But he's going to start a new one.
This party.
Yes.
And he seems like he's starting fairly small. He's not going after
No.
he's going after like a handful of senators and House of Representatives to represent
He
the
figures
American Party.
2 to 3 Senate seats and 6 to 8 congressional seats will be enough to influence the direction of legislation. And the way it's split now, because, you know, they just lost another congressman on the Republican side because he's resigning at the end of June. I love how they vote for the bill or vote against the bill and then say, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, that's the
So
best.
this guy voted for it and said, now I'm retiring.
Well, that's the best move.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I can see House of Representatives, I can see that being a reasonable goal. Senate, on the other hand, I see that being a struggle.
Well, it depends on which way it goes.
Breaking that egg might be a problem.
Well, you know, it's not necessarily that he's going after Republicans per se. He's just going after Senate seats. So, you know, and I don't know that there's going to, well, yeah, there's going to be an open seat in Kentucky because McConnell's not running for re-election. And wasn't that Tillis? That's an open seat.
Mm-hmm.
So there's at least 2 open seats that aren't being defended either way. So they're probably both in red districts and red states. So we'll see what happens there, though. This is North Carolina. North Carolina's in play now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
All right. Here's and Melissa hit on one of the points that I wanted to make. Does he primary the Republicans? Still has his candidate as the American Party.
Yeah.
And if he wins on that primary, possibly have those people shift back over to the American Party.
Maybe. Depends on, you know, first of all, he's got to get them on a ballot line.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be easy.
Not every
to begin
state's
with.
going to have that.
Correct.
It's challenging, and it's
gotta get signatures, right.
It's a different challenge in every state.
Right.
So
he's going to have to get on, well, you know, and it's interesting to see because in Florida, he won't be able to do it because a lot of states, Florida in particular, have gone away from paid canvassers or they put greater scrutiny on paid canvassers. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, when I ran for office, I had, you know, local people that worked in our organization or that were friends of mine. And, you know, and I knocked on a fuckload of doors, you know, which is great retail politics. You know, you go and you meet people and you ask them for their vote because that's the key.
I think that's the first time you've used the F word on the show.
Well, I did it softly.
Yeah.
So
And you looked away.
I know because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't want to curse.
But I mean,
like that.
I
there's
think
children could be watching.
I've used it more than you have, and I think that was the first
Hey,
time
look,
I've heard you do it.
210 city council meetings, never cursed once.
Hey,
And trust me, I was tempted.
Yeah.
But just give me a signal though, and I can always you out.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Or you can just randomly do it, and people think we cuss all the time.
Sure.
I'm liking that. We're tough here. We're from the.
He's just hitting it whenever random. You know, he just.
But you know, he's gonna have to figure this out because, like I said, Florida changed the law that there's heavy fines. They'll tear up your petitions, and I don't mean literally, but they won't accept your petitions if you don't. And you got to have the right address of the person who's carrying the petition, let alone the address of the people who are signing the petition.
Yeah.
So there's a tremendous amount of hoops to jump through. So for him to get people on the ballot is not going to be an easy task either.
Well, I think he's going to have a team
I would think.
that has the skill set.
Well, he's going to be able to afford to pay them, but again,
That's the part.
and that brokers into issues because paid canvassers are under greater scrutiny than volunteers.
Yeah. So I think he's gonna. I think that part he'll be able to manage because he has some of the biggest contracts in government history,
Yes.
and he probably has a team of lawyers that's all they do is handle those contracts. Because let me tell you right now, we're doing a project for Veterans Village, and I'm happy to get the state money, but we had to go through their approved contractor. We had to go through their approved architect. We had to go through, and it, in my opinion, jacked up the price of the project by 70%.
The state made you use their contractor and their architect?
Yep,
Why?
because it was their money. So it was our grant, their money.
And you could have saved money by using other people.
If they would have just handed the money over to the nonprofit,
Right.
I would have got 3 bids, and it would have been 70% cheaper.
So it's just ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm very appreciative.
Right. No.
of the money coming from
You've got the
state.
project off the
I'm
ground.
not-
It
I'm not-
exists.
I'm not
it's fabulous.
I'm not complaining because it didn't cost us local. Well, it did because it's still state money.
Right.
But it didn't cost us directly, our locals. It came from Tallahassee, and I'm super appreciative of the House of Representatives and the Senate leadership that got us that money last year. But
absolutely.
it's still
It's just foolish.
we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that could have went to helping people,
Right.
which is where it would have went. But because of all the checks and balances, this is why a hammer costs $200.
Right.
People ask why that happens, and it's not because of the actual hardware.
Right.
It's because of everyone who has to check off on that hammer.
Every finger in the pie.
Yeah.
Were they local? Was it? Did they have you? Did you have a choice in contractors? Did you
No,
have a choice?
it was assigned. It was a group out of, and
Were they
they're
local?
They're a good group. They're out of Jacksonville. So,
local adjacent. Okay.
local adjacent. They're
Okay.
not St. Augustine or St. Johns County.
Right.
And they're the people I'm working with are very nice people, but the price was higher than. But it's also because all the hoops they have to go through and all the documentation they have to do.
I'm thinking the lobbyists they have to pay.
They probably have more office hours than they do hours in the field, which is a total screwed up way to do business in the construction industry.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's fraud or abuse, but I would certainly say it's waste.
Yeah. So no, it was frustrating. So and hopefully the American Party can take care of that.
It'll be interesting to see. First of all, he's mercurial. He's his swinging left, swinging right, swinging up the middle as the current president who changes his mind every 10 minutes. So let's see if Musk follows through on this.
Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this: he can't do it by himself. He needs somebody else big to go with him to validate.
Okay.
He needs a fairly high-profile name to champion the party itself. He needs a Rand Paul. He needs somebody.
He's going to need a candidate from somewhere.
He's going to need somebody that makes Republicans and Democrats nervous.
So, do you think that when he picks somebody like that, let's say, look, Rand Paul doesn't need to sign on to the American Party, though he certainly very well may. Mm-hmm. But would that then make people suspect that they're beholden to Elon Musk?
That's going to happen in either way.
Yeah, so
that's going to happen. I mean, you're a Republican, you're beholden to the Koch brothers. You're a Democrat, you're beholden to Bezos. Those are going to be there. We have to hope that Bezos is the one who donated the most money to the Democratic Party. I know you're rolling your eyes right now.
Well, I'm just wondering.
He was at Trump's inauguration.
Well, they all were.
Yeah, but if you look at who gave the most money,
okay,
it was because these guys are playing both sides.
Absolutely. So I mean, he probably gave almost as much. He may have given as much to the Republicans as well.
No,
when you come right down to it, so
he did, and he may have given more.
Right, and he didn't miss a meal.
Yeah, no,
or a wedding.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're no matter who it is, someone's going to believe you're beholden to him.
Right.
And if I ran locally, I'm sure they would say, "Oh, well, he's a local developer." And because I
develop for the homeless, I develop for the veterans. You're right. I'm a developer. Thank you.
But that's where they're going to say he's on that side, and the Democrats are going to say that, and then the Republicans are going to say I'm a bleeding heart liberal. So no matter where it's at, that's pretty much why I'm not electable unless the American Party comes in. So I'm not running for office, by the way. I'm just
throw that hat right in the ring, Troy.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Hey,
so
I'd consider it. My wife would leave me.
All right. All right.
Real quick, Lenny, you were asking about the Dalai Lamas. What was like the longest period of time that we didn't have a Dalai Lama?
You okay?
So between number 2 and number 3 was the longest period we didn't have one with 35 years.
Okay.
It took him 35 years.
Yeah.
So between 1 and 2, so that was 550 years ago. Because this institution has been around for 600 years.
What was the shortest Dalai Lama term?
Shortest term.
Do we have any Dalai Lamas that that passed away as children.
Let's see. Right now, it looks
Interesting.
looks like it was number 3 as well at 601 to 578 to 588.
So 10 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
But it doesn't say how old he was.
doesn't say how. I can double check here for you right here. But actually, though, it looks like that he was actually like around 44, 45. So they didn't know that he was going to be the Dalai Lama until he was like 34.
Wow.
Okay.
Had a hard time finding him, didn't they?
Yeah. So I think there's a flaw in their method.
It's a fascinating process. It really is. That's worked for 600 years, you know?
I don't know if it has or hasn't.
Well, This guy's doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah. No, I mean, and
He's got a Nobel Peace Prize.
he took care of Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Caddyshack. All right. All right. We're moving on. We got time for one more, I believe. What else do we have in the title? Anything?
Baseball movies.
We have baseball movies in the title.
Okay.
All right. Baseball movies. So this came up on my read. Baseball movies. And this is how they were ranked according to this baseball expert. All right.
I'm sure the Pride of the
you
Yankees is going to be in there somewhere.
Pride of the Yankees is number 10. I'm going to
Oh,
let
good.
you
I feel
guys
better.
go back and
I feel
forth.
better.
All right. So Pride of the Yankees is number 10. You got one. Blake.
Oh,
All right.
I just didn't want that to be number 1.
No,
All
it's number 10.
All right. So it was okay. So I'm gonna say The Natural.
The Natural is number 6. You guys are doing good.
Little low.
You're going to get 3 X's to see how you do
Field
here.
of Dreams.
Field of Dreams is number 2. Blake.
Huh.
All right. I'm gonna go with A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own is number 3.
Wow, impressive.
Still have number 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9.
I'm going out on a limb and going Major League.
Major League is number 8.
Nice.
Okay, you guys are knocking it out of the park so far. Here we go. Blake, no strikes. You have 5 hits.
All right. I'm gonna go with Bull Durham.
Bull Durham is number 1.
Nice.
So Bull Durham is number 1.
All about the curve of a woman's back.
Yes, the small. So,
Do we all get free
he believes
steaks?
in the small of a woman's back. And Lenny, it's to you. Still no strikes, and you have 6. You're 6 for
I'll
6.
go Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears is number 9.
Sneaking in there.
Buttamaker, my junior college coach looked like Buttamaker. All right, Blake, 7 for 7.
All right. I'm gonna go with the movie where Chris Pratt hits a home run. Moneyball.
Moneyball, that is number 4.
Really?
Yep.
That's impressive.
Number 4. You guys are 8 for 8.
Gonna get tough here, but I'll go with The Sandlot.
Sandlot is number 5.
Blake, there's one left, brother.
The only one you are missing is number 7, and this one gets hard.
Okay.
So, I can tell you one that I missed. I missed this one, and I put a different one in its place. So, and I'll tell you what the movie was. Blake, what do you got?
All right. Why, Joe? Why? 8 Men Out.
8 Men Out is number 7.
Nicely
You guys
done.
went 10 for 10.
That
Blake,
would- that-
Nicely
would
you
be-
done.
weren't cheating back there, were you?
Not cheating.
Okay. All right. I put Bang the Drum Slowly. I love that movie.
Me and you both. And have you? And again, I encourage you to look for the first TV stage play with Paul Newman and George Papard. It is fabulous. It's in black and white, and I think George Papard plays Piney Woods, unless it's Paul Newman. But I think it's George Papard plays Piney Woods. It is so great,
Yeah.
and it's true to the story too.
Yeah.
That's a real tearjerker.
Like you've never seen Bang the Drum Slowly, have you? Have
movie?
you ever heard of it?
I've never heard of it before.
Oh my
All right,
goodness!
we need to find that movie for you. So it's heartbreaking and uplifting all at the same time.
Right.
All right, it is time for 5 questions.
Okay.
All right. I'll ask the questions. You guys will all answer the questions. All right. Question number 1 is we're going. Oh, Angels in the Outfield did not make the list.
That was the one that I had hanging out there.
Did not make the list. Worthy should have been an honorable mention along with Bang the Drum Slowly.
Little Big League, maybe.
Little Big League did not make the list.
And then you got The Rookie, which is very contemporary with
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, well, a true story.
Mr. 3000.
Yeah, Mr.
Is that with that was with Bernie Mac?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
there was a De Niro movie where he was obsessed with a guy, and he cut the number off of his arm or something like that. I think Wesley Snipes was in that one.
Wait,
Wesley Snipes was in Major League.
I just realized something. Why isn't 42 on the top 10?
42 did not make the list, and I that was another one I named, so I did miss 2 of them.
What about 61?
Yeah, 61's a great
Asterix.
movie. Yeah. 60.
Well, but that was a movie, you know.
About a good guy, still
Yeah.
another good guy. Roger Maris was a good guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I think Billy Crystal produced that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'm also saddened as well. Ed didn't make the top 10.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of great movies that did not make that list, but you
Right.
guys went 10 for 10.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. All right.
And what was number 1 again?
Bull Durham.
Okay, I'll
And
accept,
I
I'll
can
accept
go.
that.
I can go
I'll
with
accept
that.
I'll accept that.
Bull Durham was number. Both Kevin Costner's movies were 1 and 2.
Right, because and
And that was a
put The
Kevin
Natural
Costner
right up
movie
there.
about him being a pitcher too. He was an aging pitcher throwing a no-hitter, and then there was also a baseball movie, great baseball movie with Clint Eastwood in something about the curve.
For the love of the game.
Or Love of the
Okay.
Game was the other Kevin Costner movies that was a baseball player.
Yeah.
I think something about the curve.
Trouble with the curve.
Trouble with the Curve was the Clint Eastwood one that it was his daughter who, he was a scout and she became a scout. All right, here we go. 5 questions.
Read them off.
All right, going old school toys. All right, building toys. So Lincoln Logs, Legos, whatever building toy, erector sets.
Yep.
Which was your building toy that you had growing up, or did you have one?
The erector set.
You had the erector set.
Absolutely. I still trying to figure out that little wing piece that goes in there.
Yeah.
The little, kind of triangular one that wasn't really a triangle.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was kind of the one that was made the point.
Well, yeah, or it would make it like a windmill if you wanted a plane on a windmill. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Blake, what about you? Building toys.
I'm got to say Lincoln Log for me. I never really got into Lego as much as I probably wish I would. So because there's some great Lego F1 cars that I really want to get at some point.
Yeah.
I'll say it
And
dodges a bullet.
Maeve's
They're
into
not cheap.
Legos. I probably put more Legos together with Maeve than I did with the other 2 boys. And it's probably because Blake might be Lincoln Log because I'm Lincoln Logs. So
Right.
I might have handed that down inadvertently, not realizing.
Well, that's
that I
fine.
handed that down.
It's shared knowledge, but Legos. I'm too old for Legos, and erector set was right in my wheelhouse when I was a kid.
Yeah. I think our choices for
Yeah.
me and you was erector sets and Lincoln Log. Blake definitely was not too old for Legos. All right, here we go. What's your favorite fruit? Your favorite fruit?
That's a choice between a perfectly ripe cantaloupe or a mango.
Okay, both excellent. Both excellent. And I like most fruits, by the way. I don't. But Blake, what you got?
I'm gonna say oranges.
Oranges. Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that being your favorite. Mine's watermelon by far down hands
I like
down.
watermelon, but man, a
right.
perfectly ripe cantaloupe is just right there.
Here's something, a hack I saw yesterday, and I had to try it. And I didn't really want to believe it was going to be okay. Take yellow mustard
Okay.
and put it on a chunk of watermelon, and it's surprisingly good.
Okay.
I still love watermelon by itself better.
What
But
about with salt?
Or with I usually do.
Well-
Do you do watermelon with salt or no salt?
Julie does. I don't, but I've got a great recipe, which confuses people because they think it's a tomato salad and it's not. Yeah, we got a couple minutes. Watermelon, feta cheese, chopped scallions, hot pepper, like sliced jalapeno.
Hot peppers.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, jalapeno, lime juice, extra virgin olive oil. I mean, you can use lemon juice, but it changes it, makes it a little bit sharper. Toss that up. The feta cheese is your salt.
Yeah.
The watermelon is fabulous. The combination between the feta and the watermelon, it is an amazing salad.
It sounds amazing.
It's delicious.
It does. It sounds amazing. And I've had watermelon, cucumbers with feta cheese, olive oil, and maybe it was celery chunks or there was something else in it
Crunchy.
to give it that extra. And it was amazing. So
And you get a nice bright red watermelon, and people think it's a tomato salad.
Yeah.
Until they taste it.
Yeah. So,
And then sometimes they even double click on that too. Yeah.
but I mean, what is it? If the lines on the watermelon are wider apart, it's sweeter. There's a whole rule on how to read the lines on a watermelon. So Google that next time before you buy a whole watermelon. I usually am lazy and buy it in little chunks that's already cut up.
And if you play your cards right between Winn-Dixie or Publix, one's BOGO for 1 week and one's BOGO the next week, and you get two twice. And then you don't got to deal with getting rid of the rinds or cutting it up. I'm with you. Yeah. And that's convenience.
Lazy way to do it, but that's okay. Yep. All right, here we go. This is a local question. Sorry for you people that aren't in our area that are watching right now. Worst intersection in St. Johns County. The worst intersection in St. Johns County. What do you think it is?
Strangely, it could be San Marco and 16. Mm-hmm. People trying to make the left off of San Marco to get onto 16 to leave town.
Gotcha.
But 312 is getting wacky at US 1, but
I think it's always been wacky.
The lights work well there. The other one now is coming south. Mm-hmm. Coming east on 312 approaching US 1 when you're leaving Cobblestone Plaza and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That thing's backing up all the way to the bridge over to 312 or 207.
207 and US 1's backing up all the way to 312.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy what's going on with there.
It's
Blake,
volume. It's just and put in a couple more 100 houses. Why not?
Yeah. Let's just keep them coming. Blake, what do you think?
I'll definitely say for traditional intersection, 312 and US 1's always been the worst. Like you always had constant backups, like going east on 312, past Old Moultrie, a lot of people during noontime, it's the worst time to go. Mm-hmm. But also it's one of the reasons why I have the traffic cam on it every single morning. The State Road 16 I-95 pregnant ladies.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. Also,
that's I think the worst one. The worst part of it is
that might have the highest volume.
Yes,
16 and 95.
Because people commuting to Jacksonville for their work and coming back, and I'll tell you there's a terrible intersection at 210 coming off of 95. It's a little north of here.
It's up by Beach Walk.
Yeah. But
I got a question for you though. Yeah. So they finally finished, allegedly have finished the construction at 95 and 16. Why in heaven's name do they have that serpentine in there? They couldn't go straight?
That's the pregnant lady.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
there's an actual sign. It looks like two pregnant women spooning.
Yeah.
The sign actually, it's so wild. If you can get a picture of that sign, it's the only time I've ever seen a sign look like this. If we showed that to someone in another state, they'd be like, "That's Florida." Where's this sign at? They go, "That's Florida." Can't be. No one else would do that.
And I can't explain why they go straight. Mm-hmm. It's just I
don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
It's nicely paved at least.
All right, and my answer is right now, in my opinion, in the afternoons, the intersection. Leaving downtown on King Street, trying to go on US 1. And if you're even trying to go across, there's two lanes that goes left, but you can't get to the lane that goes straight until you get past all the construction.
Right.
So to me, that has created backups past Riberia and all the way into Cordova. Yeah. It's backed up. The lines are backed up that far. I don't know what it looked like traffic-wise after the fireworks. There were still people in line an hour and 15 minutes after the fireworks. When I walked home, and I passed several people walking home. And I went to Teeny and had a drink.
Yeah, so from what I heard, they actually closed down the lane. So I believe they made it. I believe from what I heard, they made it an entrance only.
Wow.
Yeah, they turned it right. They turned one of the lanes around to get people in and then to get people out.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
But you've got great PSAs, public service assistants. Mm-hmm. They don't hesitate to put 12 of them in front of with 12 cots at the amphitheater.
Well, I can tell you this: there was so many close calls when we first opened.
Yeah.
We just kept adding until we felt safe.
Well, it's fine, but I wish they would turn their freaking headlights off.
Yeah.
Because they park in the middle in the median, and you're driving into freaking bright lights from the sheriff's cars, and you can't see.
Well,
it's not helpful.
I asked this question, and what they told me is it forces people to slow down. And I was like, all right, but we can't see.
Right.
But that was what was told to me, to the people. It was like, yeah, we want it to be as bright as possible. We want it to be uncomfortable where people slow down enough where everybody's safe. So, and they do a great job, but I mean, it's. Whew.
Yeah, but they're they do school dismissals and in the morning they've got why don't you put a couple of these people out, at King Street and US 1 now help the traffic, direct traffic.
Yeah.
Get people directing traffic.
Yeah.
And things will go a lot faster.
The human factor is a real thing.
Yeah.
All right. This question, I didn't know if we were going to get to the baseball movies one and the other one, but this question, question number 4, favorite baseball personality, not necessarily your favorite baseball player.
Okay.
So throughout the history of baseball, who is your favorite baseball personality?
Well, I'll give you.
And there's great ones to choose from here.
Oh yeah, I mean you've got Bob Uecker, you've got Yogi Berra, you've got Joe Garagiola, but then
who lived across the street from Yogi.
How nice!
Did you know that?
I did not.
Growing up, Joe Garagiola was the catcher. They were on the same team.
Yeah,
on the same team. Yogi didn't catch until he got to the pros.
Okay.
So considered one of the greatest catchers of all time. He didn't start on his high school team because Joe Garagiola started on his team. Yogi waited till Joe Garagiola signed so that he could sign for more than him, just so he had bragging rights over Joe Garagiola.
I'll go with Keith Hernandez as a broadcaster because he's fabulous, and Vin Scully.
No Harry Carey.
Nah, no Harry Carey.
No Harry Carey. All right, so Vin Scully. Who did This Week in Baseball?
I want to say Mel Allen.
Mel Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't Garagiola start it?
I think Mel Allen.
Twib?
I think Mel Allen started it, and Garagiola would fill in for him.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was Mel Allen that was.
Okay. Yeah. That's what
most of the time.
Twib, This Week in Baseball.
Yep. Yeah, they don't have that anymore. They need to bring that back. They need to bring that back on even the MLB network. Like baseball personalities, you're going to come from a different generation, so I want to hear yours.
I definitely will agree and say like all time, Vin Scully's probably the best like all time. Like the voice, like he is like synonymous with like what the greatest calls of all time. Like and like besides like Koufax or like Duke Snyder or Jackie Robinson, when you hear Dodger, you think of Vin Scully. For like a modern guy that I listen to a lot, that and I get like a lot of baseball information from, I'll definitely say I follow this YouTuber, Foolish Baseball. He does a lot of fantastic content that does like easy to digest and like makes me understand like this aspect of like a game.
Oh, Melissa, look what Melissa just put down. Like, Melissa, you put down the guy.
The captain.
I feel he's the most overrated player of all time. Yeah. He's like 5th in hits. I know it's hard to say because his stats are so amazing, but he was never the best player on his own team.
Right.
Not once. Not at one. There was not a single time he was the best player on his own team.
But he was clutch, and he wasn't flamboyant. He was steady.
No,
he was a gamer because when you needed something, he was
a below average
reliable
defensive player. Yeah. He was never even the best shortstop on the team late in his career. So
yeah. Well,
that clears that up, Melissa. Right. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll give you that.
All right, fair enough.
I'll give you. He is a handsome man.
Alex Rodriguez was still higher than him.
He is a handsome man, but Jeter dated hotter women than A-Rod did.
Yeah. Minka Kelly and whoever. Who's he married to?
I think he's dated Madonna at one point too. I mean,
that was A-Rod.
When she was hot.
That was A-Rod.
That was A-Rod.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, but Jeter, like I saw a list of his supermodels he was with. He definitely he knew he was a handsome man too. So still a great player, but
He exuded confidence.
Yeah. If I had that team playing around me, I would exude confidence
Yeah.
too. I'd lead the league in runs scored.
Yeah.
With those guys hit
Right, you
behind
just
you.
hit, I'll run. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those guys behind me?
Hold on, I got a good graphic here for you. Boom. Derek
is that-
Jeter's dating diamond.
Is that his dating diary?
Yeah. So
Okay,
So left field, Mariah Carey, Jessica Alba at center field, Jessica Biel in right field.
That's a hell of an outfield.
And then Jordana Brewster at first base, Adriana Lima at second base, Scarlett Johansson at shortstop, Vanessa Minilo at third base, Minka Kelly at catcher, Tyra Banks at designated hitter,
She's the
and
DH.
Hannah Davis, the starting pitcher.
You know what?
I think Hannah Davis is his
I'm taking
wife
it
now,
back.
right?
He might be the most underrated player.
I'm telling you, man. Just look at that.
Off
Dave.
the field.
Look at that dating
Off the
card.
field, he might be the most underrated.
Oh,
On the
okay.
field, I'm giving him overrated.
But that's definitely a better lineup than the 2025 Rockies, though.
Oh, yeah. I'd much rather see that team play than the Rockies.
Or the 1962 Mets.
Yeah.
Easy there, killer.
That was well. That's true. You know that's true.
Also, honorary personality. I would like to mention Tim McCarver.
Sure. He was great when he was
Blake's
announcer
just
for the
trying
Mets.
to dig at me.
Yes.
I know. He was a good announcer.
I thought he was horrible.
He was
I
fair.
thought he was.
I mean, these guys are
thought
homers, but they're great.
He was a
Darling-
homer. He was a
Well.
homer. He said some of the dumbest things. Even I can tell you right now, as a former player, there's certain players that should not. Joe Morgan, one of my favorite players of all time. He's no longer with us. Everyone thought he was a great color man.
Yeah.
And some of the things he said was some of the dumbest things I've ever heard come out of a base. And, that means they're not good enough to coach.
Okay.
No one ever asked McGarver to coach. There's a reason for that.
He was also making a lot of money doing what he was doing.
He would have made more as a coach.
Maybe.
Yeah, Joe Torre is making more money than McCarver was.
Well, Joe Torre also invested in horses that ran fast.
Yeah, still does. All right, my guy is Uke. I don't think there's ever been.
Front row.
I don't know if there's ever been anybody so quick on their feet.
And self-deprecating.
When he was on Johnny Carson, when he was on any talk show, or he just was involved. The only reason Major League makes that list is because of Uke. So just a bit outside. And they talked about like how much that was just improvised. So Uke's my guy, and then Yogi's my next guy.
Sure.
So
Hard not to.
Yogi's my next guy. All right, final question. You're exiled from this country. All right?
Okay.
What country, you get to choose. You're exiled. What country do you get to live out the rest of your life on or in? You can't visit other countries. You have to stay in this country for the rest of your life. This is
I'll take a coin flip. France or Italy. I'll be happy in either one of them.
for the food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle.
Okay.
And depending on where, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. France I'd be a little nervous about. They got some other turmoil going on, but Italy,
yeah.
Italy I can totally get behind Italy.
Yeah, but Italy depends on where you live. They got a lot of earthquakes. You got
Yeah.
to be careful in Italy.
Yeah.
France doesn't have the earthquakes.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful country. A lot of history.
Absolutely.
So
Yep, both of
all
them.
right.
Yeah.
I like those answers. France wouldn't make my list, but
I like
but I haven't
France.
been there, so I can't really
Oh, it's
say.
fabulous.
I can't really say. So
I have to get to Normandy. I haven't been to the north of France, but I've been to
Melissa, too cold. She said Canada.
Yeah.
Nope, that's a pucker factor for me. I I don't do well in the cold. Blake, what you got?
I know it's kind of a vanilla answer, but I'm going to say Canada.
Canada, you're Canada too.
Yeah, but my reasoning's a little bit different.
I've seen you in the cold, sir.
It's not because of the cold.
I've seen you in the cold, sir.
The
You're gonna
language
spend
barrier.
the rest of your life.
I might be a little bit of a wimpy, but however though, but main reason is basically because I can still watch a basketball game with the Toronto Raptors whenever the Magic play. The Reds will still visit Toronto. The Penguins will come over to multiple cities in
Okay,
Canada.
no, I like your logic there.
Okay.
I didn't have that logic attached to it. So
How do you feel about
the sport-
poutine and maple syrup?
yeah.
Man, I will definitely enjoy it. Okay.
Okay.
But and then plus they still drive on the correct side of the road.
There you go. That helps.
And sure,
And no language barrier.
No, well, except for the times I might have to go into
I speak
Montreal.
fluent Canadian, except in Quebec.
Hey.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And I think I was leaning towards the British Virgin Islands because that's where I love to vacation. But Blake, you now have shifted me. Now I have to take sports into play. And
Well, can't you have like internet?
you can.
Yeah.
Can't you get the sports package?
There's nothing like. I really like live sports.
Sure.
I mean,
I really like live sports, and you're not getting that in the British Virgin Islands.
Don't
you
don't
get
say you might
cricket,
get a
but I
little
also cricket. Yeah, cricket. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not even professional.
So, but let me ask you a question: would you get rock fever?
I
Yes.
would.
Yeah,
I would. So
it's not a lot of room to go.
I think I'm going to do, and I haven't been there, but I think I'm going to do Australia.
Fabulous. Been there. Beautiful. Gorgeous
So
country.
you got cricket. You got
Gorgeous country.
They got professional basketball league. They have Australian rule
baseball.
football, and they have
Yep.
baseball.
Yep.
The
I don't know if they
V8
still have a professional baseball league anymore. They used to.
I don't know.
I believe they still do. Plus, you also get like the third best racing series in the world, the supercar series. So you still have a little bit of most sports.
And
in
that's
you.
where Shane came
And you've
from,
got
right?
seasons, man.
Dude.
Yeah, so I
You
think
got
I'm gonna,
winter. You got summer. You got beaches.
I think I'm going to take Australia because it's big enough, broad enough, a lot of enough, fishing, golf. So I think,
Wine. They make great wine.
and I speak fairly good Australian.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but
But you got to look the other way when you're crossing the street because they drive on the opposite side from us.
At my age, I'm probably not driving once I get down there.
No, but you're crossing
I've
the
been
street, so
exiled. I don't
you're
have
crossing the
enough money
street.
for a car.
Fair enough.
and plus also not every restaurant's gonna have a blooming onion, Dad.
Yeah, that's not a
but-
thing down there.
But there's a lot of shrimp and
Johnny,
Barbies, so don't
Johnny
worry about
Rivers is the one who created the blue onion.
it. Okay.
They were good.
He's one of the world's few black master chefs.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know exactly who he is.
Not
Yeah.
the Johnny Rivers barbecue, different Johnny Rivers. All right.
And not Johnny Rivers, the singer.
No, not Johnny Rivers, the singer. That's the end of our show, guys. Great show. Appreciate you guys. We covered a lot of stuff. I'm going to save this one for tomorrow because that's an interesting story in itself.
Which one's that?
The one about the snipers.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I got
and
a
then we
couple
have
for tomorrow, too.
We have interviews. Interview on Wednesday
Correct.
was Jaja Flamenca. I think I said her name right.
Yeah. I'm just going is it Zaza?
Zaza. See,
Zaza. Little more-
I
little more
said it wrong.
sparkle. Well, I don't know.
I felt like
Because if you're doing Zaza, if you're doing Jaja, it's a Gabor.
and that's where I took it. So I said it wrong. Sorry, Zaza. So appreciate you guys. Support our sponsors. Please share the show if you loved it. If you hated it, share your show and torture your friends. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you.